Hey, hello everybody. Here we are at the live stream of the Drummers of the Future beginner book of my colleague here besides me, DrummerMartijn, and he's in the studio, Martijn Soeterbroek. Give him a warm hand.
Hello,
and
everybody.
my YouTube is rolling along in delay, so I have to put the sound off somewhere because I'm hearing myself double now. But cool. The most important thing, I think, before we start is if there's anyone who can let us know in the chat if you can hear us, because I think that's the most important thing for a live stream. So if there's anyone online already, and maybe you can leave a short note in the chat that you can hear us, and we can make some small adjustments to the sound if that's necessary for the stream today. So, but really cool that you're watching our live stream today. And maybe a first question to think of what we're going to talk about today. Oh man, I have to put my headphones off because I'm hearing myself in delay, and that's awful. Let's do it like this. Okay, so Martijn is here. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome to my small but cozy home studio.
It's nice. All the way from Zwolle.
All the way from Zwolle.
Yeah.
And if there's anyone online yet, please put a short yes in the chat if you can hear us, because I think that's the most important thing, the most important starting point to let us know if you can hear us.
Yeah, and as you already noticed, because this is an international release of my drum book, today we're doing it in English, which is a bit weird because we're obviously both native Dutch.
Actually, that's weird. Yes, couple of Dutch guys talking English to each other for people who are watching us.
But we'll give it a try anyway. So, but don't laugh if the grammar is a bit off.
Yeah, we're doing the best we can. Johan is with us, and he says yes. So everybody can hear us, I think.
That's great.
So if maybe you can let us know if the volume is loud enough. And I want to start with a short question for everybody who is watching us today and who's with us. And the question is actually, when you're teaching drums right now at this point, are you using just one book or are you using multiple books? And maybe that's a good one to start off with. Maybe you can put a short response in the chat. Maybe you can just put one figure in it if you're using just one book for the majority of your drum students, or 2 or 3 if you're using more books. That would be fun to know, isn't it, Martijn?
Yeah, well, it's one of the what's the word? Starting points.
Yeah, that's one of the key points.
The key points
we're talking about today.
Of the whole Drummers of the Future series. It's supposed to be a complete, comprehensive drum method. But we're gonna talk about it and explain it. So, we don't know who's watching. Do you think that everybody knows about the whole Drummers of the Future thing?
Maybe it's a good idea to do just a short introduction about the whole idea behind the book. And did you show the book already to the viewers?
Very briefly, I think. So, because my name is underneath there's my name, Martijn Soeterbroek, which is such a Dutch name that you probably know me by my social media name, DrummerMartijn, which is still quite Dutch, but okay, anyway. And 5 years ago, we've published this book. You might know it, Drummers of the Future Intermediate, for intermediate drummers. And today we have the brand new release of, well, actually it's the prequel.
The prequel,
yeah.
That's what it's.
We are like Star Wars. Okay, there's.
Yeah.
I have to. Yeah. Star Wars. Drums of the Future Beginner. So this one comes first, and then you can go on with this one. Where is the screen? Yeah,
There you go.
there. So, and you might know that we already did a launch party before in September,
We did.
but that was the Dutch version.
That was for the Dutch version.
Yeah, that's the Dutch version, Dutch only. And I can explain why I wrote a Dutch version first, but maybe that's later. But this is the English version, the international release of Drums of the Future Beginner.
Drum roll, please.
So, yeah, and let me show you. So it's a hard copy book with a glossy finish, and there are 104 pages.
104?
104, which is a lot, I know.
I
But
thought it were 105.
105, no, 100. Okay, maybe.
Including the last
Yeah,
white page, 106.
Yeah, divided in 14 chapters, each 7, sometimes 8 pages long, and it's meant for any beginner drummer. Maybe
Mhm.
not for very young kids, I'm not sure, but well, technically for every beginner. It starts with the first basic 8-note drum grooves, and then within those 104 pages, you will become an intermediate drummer.
And then?
And then you can go to this one, obviously. But yeah.
So that's in short what's happening with the Drummers of the Future books, and we're very glad we sold a couple of this one already in the pre-sale last week. And if you want to know something about the book or about the other book, just mention your question in the chat, because that's where the chat is for today. And if you want to check it out, the book, we've got the URL in the screen at the moment, cmmeu.com/drummers of the future beginner. So the first initials DOTFB. And that's where you can buy the book today. And if you buy it today, after the next Monday, the book will cost $32.95. And if you buy it today or tomorrow, it's just you're getting 15% off. So you're paying only $27.95, and that's for today and tomorrow. And Monday the pre-sale is over. I'm sorry. So if you're interested in buying the book, check it out. The URL. I'll leave a link in the chat within in a couple of minutes, so you can directly find it. And maybe it's time to show a little video.
Oh, yeah.
We've got some videos.
Which video you want to go first?
Yeah, you told when you came in today, you told me about the new video you made for the first chapter of Drummers of the Future Beginner.
So I should introduce this a bit, I guess.
There you go.
So so when we're talking about the Drummers of the Future book, we have a Dutch book and an English book now, but there is more. So along the way, and I'm not sure if I can show just maybe. Well, this is a nice page. Maybe I can show it to the camera. It could be possible. Yeah, like this. Yeah. If you look closely, you can see there are all kind of practical references to songs. For instance, over there and over there. So there are no play-alongs in my book, but there are a lot of song references, and all those songs are collected in playlists, and we're going to talk about it in a little while about those playlists. So that's an additional feature, but there is more. There will be video tutorials of almost each page, and well, personally, I had the idea of making a DVD, but nobody makes DVD anymore. So, but that was the whole setup. So, if you're working with Drummers of the Future Beginner and you're working on your own through the book, or maybe you are a teacher and you want to give your students some additional help to practice at home, there will be video tutorials of almost each page, and in each video I will play all the grooves of that same page, so you can play along, or you can listen to it.
You've been working very hard the last couple
I
of
haven't
months.
been, because obviously I just told you
finish
there
all the
were
videos.
100 pages, so I made about 90 videos, which was a bit ambitious. I agree, and they're almost finished. I'm still working on the sound design at the moment, but we have an exclusive preview.
Yeah, that's what we
So
have.
we're gonna show the very first page. Let me check. That's page 7 in the book, right? Yeah, page 7. That is 1.1. Let me show it quite quickly. And well, you probably already see this is the very first page of the book, and the three, at least I think, the three most important basic grooves are introduced. And we're going to show you a preview of the drum video tutorial. Yeah, I have to say, so this is still a test version, but yeah, will be online soon.
Okay, there we go.
Technisch gezien zou jij volgens mij een klein stukje moeten schrijven. Ik heb het gevoel dat ik nou de hele tijd op mijn beeld zit. Dus dat even kijken.
So that was actually the video of the first chapter.
The very first page.
Or the very first page. So we've been talking about you're working on 90 videos. Is that one of the 90 or?
Yeah, this is one of 90.
One of 90.
Yeah, 1.1. So it was. Yeah, well, like I said, I'm still working on the final audio mix. The video edit themselves are, well, they're ready more or less.
Mm-hmm.
So well, let's do. Well, this is some news fact. I will try to publish, let's say, at least the first chapter. So the first 6-7 videos this year.
This year,
before
just
Christmas.
before 2024.
Before Christmas, and then so there are 14 chapters. I won't be able to get them ready. Oh, je moet even het geluid, the sound. Yeah, sorry, no Dutch. Sorry. Yeah, it will take some time, but I will publish all the videos. A good thing to know is that these videos won't be uploaded on my regular DrummerMartijn YouTube channel. They will be released on the, obviously, Drummers of the Future YouTube channel. But if you are a subscriber to my social media, or if you getting the newsletters from Dirk-Jan, then you will be informed when they're ready. That's cool. Yeah.
And that's the same channel where you published all the videos of the intermediate book?
There are, no, the intermediate videos are technically on my DrummerMartijn channel, but obviously all the playlists, all the videos are on the Drummers of the Future channel as well. You can also find there the YouTube playlists with all the song references.
We're going to talk about that later on.
Yeah.
And those, so what you did in the last edition of the intermediate book, you made every page has QR codes now with the videos.
Yeah.
I think that's something for the beginner book as well in the future.
Yeah, might be possible. We didn't do that yet. There is a difference. So the intermediate, the videos are made for intermediate. These are like 3-4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Are actual drum lessons.
Yeah.
So you can follow these videos even
without the book,
even if you don't have the book.
Yeah.
Which is great. Now I choose for a different format. So these videos will be online for free. At least that's the plan for now.
Mm-hmm.
But without the book, I'm not sure if you can really follow.
You do actually need.
You do need the book,
yeah.
And then it's just an additional tool to help you to practice, to understand what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Not only for the student himself, but also for the teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that would be cool. You'd say, okay, for next week, I want you to practice page 8. So here's the book, page 8, and I'll send you the video
Find
link.
The videos.
And enjoy and see you next week. So I mean, I think that's drum teaching nowadays.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Because a lot of students are searching their own YouTube videos as well of the songs they just wanted to play.
Yeah.
So that's the future.
Yeah.
So that's why they need drummers of the future.
Yeah, I didn't come up with the title myself, by the way.
No.
It was not my own idea, but I think it's a great title.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to talk about? I'm using your notes.
Yeah.
The essentials, or should I talk about the structure of the book?
When we advertised the book in the last couple of weeks, we had like 3 really essential points that were important for the book, and unique things. I think unique things that no one else is using, because we've been talking about the unique structure, and that it's almost impossible to get stuck with the book, because sometimes with other books you for a slower student you need more lessons, and for a faster student you don't need that many lessons. So, and you told me with this book it's almost impossible to get stuck, and it's for fast students and slow students as well. And maybe you can tell our viewers a little bit about it, and if they have some questions they can ask it in the chat about this.
Yeah. So, first I should mention that because maybe not everybody knows. So I've been a drum teacher, drum educator. Educator for
what they call it.
Educator for at least 20 years. I think almost going to 25 years. And of course, I've been using all regular books and drum methods and transcriptions and songs and Spotify, everything that drum teachers use.
Yeah,
I use them myself. Sometimes with great success, sometimes with less success. But I noticed that in a lot of drum methods, the way the books are built up, it's often in let's call it themes. So there's a theme or a section, 8 notes, and then 16 notes, and then later on there is a section Latin or jazz, and then in the end of the book there is suddenly a section drum fills.
Yeah.
For a teacher, that makes sense, because you can, I want to teach something about drum fills. Okay, let's go to chapter 8, find the right page, and there you go. For a student, it's not so clear, because they don't know what they're looking for.
It's also confusing, because if you have to go to the last page of the book and take the drum fills over there and go back to the beginning of the book and use the grooves.
Yeah. So so I at some point I was really fed up with that. I was also fed up with the fact that I had to use one book, and this is what you told in the intro of this stream, that for fills I had to use this book, and for sight reading another book, and for fills some things I designed myself, and I just noticed that the student got confused, and
Yeah.
when a student is confused, he don't like it that much. His motivation drops, etc., etc., and then the lesson becomes less fun, and that's something I hated that, because in the end I didn't like teaching myself that much.
No.
So there was we were on a slide. I think it's the
On a slide down.
slide down,
Yeah.
and what I think, and that must have been like I don't know, when did I start to write this book? About 6 years ago. I wanted to find a new way, so that's when I started to write my own drum books. But so about structure, I think that if you learn something new, that you need some time to get it into your system. So if you learn a new groove, I don't know, can be an 8-note groove or a 16-note groove, then okay, so then you need some time, a couple of weeks, I don't know, depends on the student, of course, to get it into your system. So
And the fun thing is that's even with the first chapter, because I started with a new student last week in your book, and we did the first chapter. We did the boom chak, and we did boom boom chak, and then he has to combine those two, and he did have a hard time.
Yeah. So that's interesting, because I noticed that in a lot of books, then the first exercise. Let's talk about the first exercises. Is the boom chak,
Yeah.
the Billie Jean, the We Will Rock You grooves.
Yeah.
And then the second exercise already expands on that, which again, for a teacher or for an advanced drummer, makes sense.
Us, it's very logical.
It makes sense, because we have this bird eye view. Thanks to
Helicopter view.
Helicopter view.
Yeah.
Then it makes sense. But for the student, he needs some time to get things in his system. So basically, what I did is, let's give him or her, or of course, give him some time.
Yeah.
So let's do some fill exercises first.
Yeah.
And if you play fill exercises, then we can repeat the grooves we just did. But we can also work, and that's not stated in the book itself, but you'll understand, we can work on structure, we can work on phrasing, we can work on timing, we can do some songs, we can do, you might even want to check posture and dynamics and creativity and all kinds of things. So there's a whole list of checkpoints you can do. And then we go to the next phase or the next section with new 8-note grooves, because by then the student is ready for it. Well, and now we're talking about the first 2-3 pages of the book, maybe. But this is something. That's just the first chapter. But that's something. This point of view, or this way of putting exercises after each other, I've been using for both books, and I think because.
And maybe good to know that you've been testing all the exercises extensively with all your private students as well. Yeah. So it's not just I made up my mind and I thought this was the right order, but you've been testing them all. Yeah,
I've been testing this a lot, and because you're completely right. Often I thought that putting grooves in a certain order was the right way. Mm-hmm. And then a student tried it, and
you found out it wasn't the right way.
And didn't make it through. Yeah. Got stuck again. I was like, damn, that was the whole point. I don't want to. Yeah. I mean, if the students get stuck, then you're, then the whole positive vibe of a drum lesson.
Yeah, and you have to find out yourself again.
So often I had to change, and I was happy to do it. Often I had to rearrange the structure of the exercises, but most of the times, and that's why it became quite an extensive book. I had to make additional exercises because. The learning curve, and this is something we've been talking before. I've been joking about the escalator learning curve, and an escalator, you don't have to do anything. You just step up, and then it goes on in one speed. It goes
to
up.
The top.
That's the metaphor I had in the back of my mind when trying to find the best learning curve. And I have to admit that for the beginner book, that was even more difficult to find
I can imagine.
than for the intermediate thing. So, but it was really interesting. And yeah, along the way, I did test everything. So, I think you really have a book that you can really use in a practical situation.
Mm-hmm.
This is also one of the reasons why all the exercises, let me show it again, are 1 page long. And of course, this is because we're so fond of PDFs and stuff. Any page is 1 page long, no exceptions. So that makes it very clear.
Every chapter.
Every exercise, I should say.
Yeah.
So every exercise, so this is 7.2, drum fills, and I'm introducing strawberry in this page. And, well, this is interesting. So, and then I'm combining the new rhythmic building block with all the
other things,
all
they
the
already
patterns
knew.
we learned before.
Yeah.
So again, to build in some time to adjust for the student, to get it into
it's not like just learn something new and go with the flow, but learn something new and combine it with everything you already knew.
Yeah.
So it's some kind of repeat for all the things you've learned in the chapters before.
Yeah, for sure.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I hope it works, but I think it does.
Yeah, I've been trying your book a couple of months now with a lot of new students, and it's like what you say. With some students you can skip some exercises, and with some students you do need them all. And I think it's great that you got material enough for the students who need just 2 or 3 more exercises for one specific subject. And I think that's the great thing about the book.
Yeah. So how many students? Because that's interesting. He's your
personal
practical guide to my book. So how many students are working with? You don't have that many drummers, I think.
At this moment, I think I have more drummers than you think.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I thought you.
But at this moment, I think I started with 5 or 6 guys, girls, who are working with the book. So
So I
we'll
know.
See how it ends.
Yeah, I know some former students of mine on the conservatory in Utrecht. I've been teaching them how to teach more or less, but so now they're teachers themselves, and a couple of them are using my book. And I told them, hey, that's great, but I really want to know, not now, but maybe in
later on,
half a year or maybe in a year, what your thoughts about it, because I don't know. I think I might need to revise things because of the learning curve, and I'm really curious to know if students get stuck, and if they get stuck, or maybe not. Maybe this is I hope not, actually.
And it would be interesting to have feedback from international buyers as well.
Yes.
I think the book is really made how we teach here in this certain part of Europe.
Yeah, that might be true.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
So it might be really interesting to have some feedback from customers from other countries who bought the book and their opinion on it.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And of course, I think drumming and obviously my book is about pop rock drumming. There is no jazz. There is some introduction to Latin grooves.
Yeah.
Also in the other book, there is some New Orleans. There is some styles from funk to disco, but
a little bit of Latin.
A little bit of everything. But like I said, there were already 100 pages, so I had to make some sacrifices. And I also thought that if you really want to specialize, if you really want to play jazz or Latin, there are such great books about those topics. Who am I to? By the way, that's the same with.
Let's ask it to the people who are watching. Are you teaching jazz in the first couple of years when you're teaching drum set? Really curious. You?
I hope they do, because it's
maybe,
great.
Maybe
but,
you can put a small comment in the chat.
Yeah.
If you're teaching jazz in the first, let's say 2 or 3 years, say yes. And if it's later on, say, or maybe type later on or no or whatever.
Then still,
Really
I think you need the basic things, basic coordination, basic knowledge about music notation, sight reading, how to play a drum fill, how to orchestrate it around the drum kit, that kind of stuff. I think because jazz normally, or Latin normally, is not the first style you encounter when you're just I don't know, a teenager growing up.
I think my kids want to play pop.
Yeah, so that's of course. So that's why we start with pop, and the first groove is it's called the $1 Million Groove.
That's
the Billie Jean groove. That's the starting point, and I think that makes sense for students. I'm not saying this is a book for kids. It's not, but the majority will be young students, I guess.
Yeah. In our situation.
Yeah, and they will like pop music, and then everything else comes afterwards. But then at least you have a very decent base to build on, and that was my whole goal with both books, actually.
Yeah.
Beginner.
And maybe you can tell a little bit how you managed to get some technique in it as well, and some coordination, and how do you did it with music theory, and how do you incorporate that in the book?
Yeah, so
that's what one of the main sales points is, that actually you don't need another book anymore because everything is in it.
Yeah, so I wrote my book for drummers. I mean, it's called Drummers of the Future. It's not called Percussionist of the Future. Again, it's not that I have. It's just because I had to make some choices. But although I am classical trained as a kid, when I teach drums, pop drums. So that's the thing I know the most about. So that was my focus point. But of course, you need technique as a drummer, but you need also coordination. You need some creativity. You need a lot of other things.
Yeah,
they're on the back of my music theory, of course. They're they're on the back, actually.
It's here in my notes.
Yeah, great. But I have to admit that the whole snare drum thing, because that of course is the marching thing, the rudimental snare drumming. That was not an obstacle, but a tricky thing to get into my book. But of course, I wanted to, because it's elementary. Is that the right word?
Yeah, elementary.
Elementary to need. So along the way, I'm not sure if the student actually noticed. I mean, I introduce the single stroke by saying, hey, this is a rudiment. I introduced the single flam. I introduced the single paradiddle. Later on in the second book, you get all the variations on the single paradiddle. Double stroke is there. All kinds of ghost notes, exercises, ghost note exercises. This is intermediate, by the way. But if you check those exercises, then actually you're working on stick control things. So again, I tried to make it as practical as possible. Also because it had to fit. That was also another very important point for me. It has to fit in a drum lesson. And I'm not sure about in other countries, but at least in the Netherlands, are you teaching 30 minutes? Or
no, not anymore.
20 minutes.
Yeah. My previous school was 20 minutes. And when I switched to the school where I'm teaching now, it was 30. And then they made it to 25.
Ah, okay. Yeah. But still, that's not a lot of time. And
no,
I noticed that then you have this a bit awkward situation, at least that's how I felt, that the first part, so that's 8 minutes, has to be your snare drum book, and then we go to the drum set and we do a song, and I at some point I didn't feel comfortable.
I can't work like that.
With that, if you have an hour for a student, it makes totally sense. It actually might be nice, but this book is meant for the regular drum lessons. If you have only 20 minutes a week for a student, which is like an hour a month, this might actually work, because everything is in there. The other thing, maybe even more important than stick control, but that's a personal choice, was sight reading.
Sight reading.
Yeah, so just, maybe I should show you the last page. Because
what's on the last page?
Yeah, the last page.
I haven't even checked it out.
It's actually more of a summary.
Yeah.
What the very last page of this book is an overview of all the possible quarter notes, 8 notes, 16 notes combinations. Okay. What I noticed that in a lot of drum books, they only do they only do the first half. And they more or less skip the second half. Yeah, which is okay, which is fine. But you know what I encountered later on, when beginner drummers become intermediate, you encourage them to go online and to find drum transcriptions and to check YouTube things, and then they come in with all the PDFs with transcriptions, and they're like, what are those notes, Dirk-Jan? I don't know how to read this.
You didn't explain it to me.
Because I didn't explain, because it was not in the books I was using. And the problem was, and there was the thing, that the goal of that lesson was to activate a student to come up with his own songs, to get him more like engaged, but also like damn, I don't know the word.
Say it in Dutch. I'll translate.
Zelfstandig.
Self-working.
Self-working musician, but he couldn't read the notation. So
he wasn't aware of all the other possibilities.
So the lesson turned out to be a sight reading lesson, which was not at all what I had intended.
Wasn't the idea.
So that's why I put a lot of effort to get all the basic notation, all the basic 16 notes combinations in my Drummers of the Future book, without being very boring, or at least that's what I hope. There are no marching things. If you want to have a good marching book, I know a guy who has some decent marching.
We're not to talk about that here today, but maybe some other time.
But so I made a practical choice. There is a lot of sight reading in my book, but they are disguised as the drum fills.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
But that's a good thing.
So you're playing a lot of drum fills, and within those drum fills, you will learn all the basic music notation, all the music theory, and the basic rudiments, and etc. So that's how
talking about drum fills. When we did the official launch of this book for the Dutch version, you made up a solo with all the material which is in the first book. Maybe it's fun to just watch a short peek of the solo.
But you're talking about the second solo. This is the first solo, but that doesn't really matter. But that's okay. So this is the first solo, which is a bit more difficult, I guess. But I think all the things I know are put into my books. So what I'm playing should be in the books as well.
Because it's fun to talk about drumming, but it's also fun to show some drumming.
Yeah, well. Ja, dat was het opbouwen. Ja, op de solo. Ik had hem eigenlijk heel
So,
Yeah.
need this camera. I
The other
need this camera. So that was a short part of your solo you did with the official launch of the Dutch version of the book. We did like in September. I think it was the 3rd of September, wasn't it?
Yeah, or the 4th?
What's
I
it
don't
today? The 3rd of December. It is.
It's the
No,
9th.
it's the 9th. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Confused.
Too bad.
Okay,
Too bad.
but I wanna talk just a little bit about the last feature. What makes your book very special and compared to other books is that you put in a lot of song suggestions, so students can immediately apply what they've learned with their favorite songs.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. And what I found out last week, I had a page with a lot of song suggestions on it, and student just did the songs with the suggestions, and they forgot about the other groups.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah.
But they like it though.
Yeah. So I've been using playlists, or I should say it the other way. I've been using songs as a practical reference all my life as a drum teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using books. I'm an educator who uses books because I think it's good to have a structured lesson.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are a lot of teachers who are not into books and using that's awesome as well, of course. Let's not say, but I'm a teacher who likes to have a book as like a base of my lessons. But of course, we make all kind of sideways with songs, with YouTube videos, with recordings, with whatever we have that week. So when I was writing the intermediate book, I used some song reference. If there was a particular groove that would fit into an exercise, I would put it into the exercise so that the student would have like, okay, so I've been working through this page and now I can do this song. That was the whole idea, and that turned out to be so nice for the student. They like it so much that I really did my best with the new book to enlarge this.
Include even more.
Include, that's a better word.
Even more.
Include even more. So, and I wasn't aware of this. So in the intermediate book, there are like 30 something songs that are used in the book as reference for certain grooves. In the beginner book, there are about 120 songs.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's a bit.
And I didn't realize, but so almost not every page, but I tried. Almost every page has at least one song.
Mm-hmm.
You can do with a student, if you're a teacher, or if you are a student yourself, you can try out to check out the new things you've been learning.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also as a reference if you're not that experienced with sight reading, for instance, then sometimes you have a hard time. Okay, how should this groove sound?
Yeah.
Well, then you can check the song.
Yeah.
And you have like.
Because you can't imagine how it's.
And then you have a clear reference.
Yeah.
I also tried with selecting the songs that the tempo was just a bit like that you have to work for it.
Mm-hmm.
So not too fast, obviously, because then it would make no sense.
That was what I experienced with one of the first songs.
Whoa, was it still too fast?
No, you did like in the first chapter. I think you did one of the Beatles songs. Please, Mr. Postman. Yeah. Maybe just a little bit too fast, but they gotta work on it.
Yeah, then they have something to work for it. If it's too slow, it's not good either. But at least because sometimes I had to explain a student why he or her had to practice something. And then it's cool.
This is why.
This is why. Because here's a song, and it's from the Beatles. You know the Beatles, right? I don't know the Beatles. Oh, great. Then we can talk about music history.
Yeah.
Which is also a great topic. So that makes for a great another lesson. So
that's cool.
And of course, not every groove can be put into a song.
No,
some things you just have to practice.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah. So what's already online? So we've been talking about the video tutorials. They're not ready yet. I'm working on it, but they will be there soon. But if you are on Spotify or on the new YouTube channel, Drums of YouTube channel, the playlists are already there. So I've put all the songs that are mentioned in both books in a playlist.
So that's an amazing job as well. So you made playlists of all the songs on YouTube and Spotify as well.
Yeah. So you can just
go check it out, everybody.
Check them out and make sure to subscribe or to put them to your favorites.
Put them to your favorites so you can use it in your your drum class.
And it because you don't have to search for the songs anymore. You can just click on the playlist
really
and there you go. And again, if you have only like 20 minutes a week, you'll be happy to use the playlist because it saves time, and that's very practical from my own experience as a teacher. I definitely encourage the use of
I use them
playlists.
all the time, so they're great.
Nice, great to hear.
So those are the most important things we had to discuss today about your new book, and I would like to invite some people who are watching us. If you have a question for Martijn, come on.
This is your chance.
This is your chance to talk about drumming. Please write your question in the chat, and that's how I would like to end this live launch. If there are people who have a question in the chat, please write it down so we can discuss it. And if there's you probably are present at this live launch because you got an email from me or you got an email from Martijn, because we did the best we could email everybody the last couple of weeks. So if you don't want to ask your question in the chat, no problem. You have our email addresses. You can email us and we'll respond to that. And but if you want, you can ask some of your questions now, and that's a short Q&A at the end of our live stream today.
Maybe we can mention that along the way, intermediate has been revised.
Has been updated.
Well. Yeah, has been updated. So this is the glossy version, and there's a new back cover. And this comes obviously with the QR codes.
Yeah,
also a great feature. So this is looking shiny.
It's shiny and new.
It's shiny. And the beginner's book as well. This book is still only in English only, because that makes sense for the target group. But this new book is now in Dutch and in English. If you need another language, like I don't know, Spanish. I'm not really.
Are you sure?
No, my Spanish is not that good.
Okay.
I'm already struggling with English, but who knows?
But if you want to check out the book, go to the below URL and make a reservation for the book, because these are the first copies. They came in, let's say, last Friday, just before the launch for today. So if you want to buy it, the price on Monday will go to $32.95, and if you're buying the book this weekend, it's only $27.95, and Martijn is here for another half an hour after the show, and he will be signing your book
again
if you're buying a copy today.
I really had problems with my wrist last time.
Yeah. Did you recover?
Yeah, I hope.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, those prices you mentioned are in euros.
Are in euros.
Yeah, that's maybe.
That's what they are. And I've got an order coming in right now.
That's amazing. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Thanks
but maybe,
for buying.
Maybe not because of this stream. Oh, because
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it is. Well,
Yeah.
great.
So if you wanna use the discount, it's only for today and tomorrow and Monday. Everybody's paying the regular price of
$92.95.
$32.95. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So if there are no questions, we'll end this stream.
Yeah,
'Cause
we've
I
been
don't see any
talking
questions in the chat.
for an hour. Oh my!
We did that
In English.
in 95 minutes.
That's awesome.
Already.
That's awesome. You can, if you write a letter about our lack of useful grammar,
No problem.
please send them.
We will work on that.
Next time we'll do it in German. No, we don't.
That's a really that's a really good challenge.
Let's not do that. Yeah. So.
Okay, but
Dirk-Jan, thank you for
Yeah.
inviting me
you're welcome.
to this lounge party.
So this was it. If there are no questions in the chat, we'll be ending this live stream. Thanks a lot for watching, and thanks a lot for buying. And I hope you have a lot of fun with the book. And we'll see you next time at the next Concert in Marching Music event.
Yes.
Bye bye, and thanks a lot.
Thank you.